back, St James's Pod. We're here to preview AC Milan as the lads go over to Milan to face the first fixture in the Champions League. And it's away to AC Milan, lads. I'm here with Alex and Tom. They're absolutely buzzing for this game. You can see it all over their faces. We're all optimistic. We're all buzzing. We are recording this though before the Brentford game, so we don't know the result of that yet. And we're going to be all together to watch this game for the first. I was trying to remember actually the last time we would have all been watching a Newcastle game together.
You're probably talking at least 8 years for everyone who's going to be there. Considering Jack, who's been sacked off the pod, we haven't all been together with him for that amount of time.
Yeah, we'll get some shocking opinions from him, I'm sure.
I was thinking the last one must have been. Yeah, the last one must have been an England game that we all watched together. Can't remember the last Newcastle one. But yeah, we're gonna be in Spain to watch it. But the lads are obviously travelling to Italy, and there'll be a lot of fans heading over there as well. What are we expecting in terms of an atmosphere from an away game at AC Milan?
It's going to be just crazy. I think, like, the fact that this is our first Champions League game in 20 years. I know we've had other European away games during that point in Europa Leagues and UEFA Cups, and the like.
Intertoto Cups.
Intertotos, alright. Sorry, I get them all in there. But yeah, this is Champions League, San Siro, one of the biggest, best, European grounds out there, and against a team who obviously have got such a history in the competition. One of the last games we had in the Champions League was at the same ground against Inter Milan when we were last in the competition, and that night is talked about famously from all the fans who went there. Obviously, you've never seen a Macam in Milan chant and everything else after that. So it's exactly still. So it's going to be the fans are going to have an absolutely brilliant time, and very envious of them, but it's going to be a class night.
I think Peter's brother's heading over there, so we're going to have a man on the ground anyways to find out what it's really like. But I'm expecting, obviously there's 4,000 tickets that have sold out now. There's probably at least twice that many Geordies going over, and it's just going to be class. I'll be so jealous of seeing it, all the content out there, everyone out there. It's going to be a ball, and the atmosphere, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like being in that stadium. As you're saying, I think it might be the last year that they're going to be in there as well, so what a team to play.
Yeah,
I know. I heard a Tottenham fan saying he's a bit envious of our group. He'd like to have Tottenham playing in this group and just being able to go to all these grounds and basically see the team and competing with the best. That's what we're here for. And I know we talked about the draw being so difficult, but however, let's have it now.
It is I'd want to put it out there that all these fans who were trying to, throw digs at us, saying, "Oh, well, you're just going to burn and crash and burn in this group and everything else." But I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for a lot of Newcastle fans here that, we don't care. We're here to experience the biggest nights, while Liverpool fans have their Thursday nights and everything else. We're here having the Champions League moments in the best grounds, watching the best players, and potentially throwing up a surprise result here and there. And who can blame us for having that optimism and so forget those fans who want to throw shade on our group and our chances. Like we'll do our bit. They've not had Eddie Ball like in the Champions League before, so yeah, let's see how they cope.
Yeah, it's going to be so good. Obviously, me and Alex sat down and did a pod, and we talked about the group when it got announced as the group of death, or however it was labelled by the media. But obviously, we were saying like we were chuffed with it, and this is exactly why. Like, you saw the fans away to Brighton when we were getting pumped by Brighton, having the absolute amazing time, just enjoying it. You put them in Milan, it doesn't really matter what the scoreline's going to be. They're going to have a great time. So I think it's interesting when you see other clubs' fans saying stuff like that, because clearly they have a total different attitude to our fans. Like, we are just going to enjoy every second of this. It's been 20 years. There's no guarantee we'll be back after this season. And these teams are the best teams in Europe and some of the best places to go. So yeah, it's going to be fantastic for anyone travelling there. Talk about AC Milan a little bit. They've had a great start of the season. I'll not count the points, Alex. I'll let you do that.
I mean, it's 3 wins, so it's quite easy, but I'm still not sure you can make that. So yeah, won all 3 games so far, so pretty good start, to be fair. And they've played Roma last week as well, so it's not like they've just had a few gimmies.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're expecting a hard game. I'm not expecting anything else, but if we play our best, if we play Eddie Ball, and if we get in their faces, they won't like it. They'll press them on the ball, give them no time to breathe. Like, we need to play our best and get into them, and I genuinely think we can come out with a result.
Yep, I agree. They're they've obviously had a good start, and we've had a bit of an iffy start, but they have a massive game before, like, in the Milan derby, so their heads obviously will have to be fully focused on that game. That's just by the by, so it could even then just give us that chance that they might just take their eye off us a little bit, because of having such a big game. Inter also started the season with 3 wins, so both joint top, so huge things at stake in that game before they play us, so that could just give us an edge, that they have to exert all that energy into that one, and then we hit them with the Eddie Ball, and we could throw up a shock.
That's the thing. Like, Eddie got interviewed at the start of the Great North Run that he was starting, and he got asked about the Champions League group and like the game against Milan and how he's feeling about it, and he sort of tried to palm it off and say, "Oh, like, Brentford's the only game I'm looking at the moment. Like, that's the biggest game for me." And like, we know he can speak very, very eloquently to the press. We all know that Milan game's a much bigger game for Newcastle, but that AC Milan Inter Milan derby is a much bigger game for them. As you're saying, they're both top of the league. Like, that there's no doubt about it, that is a much bigger game for AC Milan than the Newcastle game. So yeah, hopefully they'll be going into that, giving it 6 and out, giving it the strongest lineup, and hopefully a bit leggy come Tuesday night.
Yeah, especially towards the end of the game. See if we can get the legs really tested.
Get the fast lads on, get Murphy on. Punish them.
I was having a look at the form last season as well, because obviously we're only a few games in to this season, but I think did they finish 4th last season?
They finished 5th technically, but because of Juventus getting docked points, they actually leapfrogged them after the season ended. So they actually finished the season outside of Champions League place. But so the group would have been much different, because Juventus wouldn't have been in top 3, etc. So yeah, it's with Juventus getting docked points is the only reason. Well, it's not the only reason. Obviously, they played well to finish 5th over the course of the season. I'm not saying they're a shy team by any stretch, but yeah, on points won in the game, they finished 5th effectively.
let's not forget that they did get to the Champions League semi-final as well, and lost over two legs to their bitterest rivals, Inter. So they're no and obviously we know about the past of winning this competition on 7 occasions, I think 6 or 7. Most recently back in 2007, I believe, against Liverpool. So yeah, they'll go exactly. They'll go like with the hope of like replicating that same run they had last season into this one. Obviously, knowing that they've got such a difficult group as a third seed with Dortmund and PSG, the higher seeded teams in the group. It could be that this game comes down to who's going to be the best of the rest and finishing third. But they'll still feel like they've got a lot to prove in this competition. So be interesting to see exactly how they want to go about this competition.
Yeah, well, when I was having a look at the performances last season and stuff, I was having a look at the stats, and obviously they've got that Leao, however you pronounce it, that seems to be the star man. But any Toon fans who don't really follow Italian football, they'll know Olivier Giroud's still smashing it up for them. He was the second top goal scorer last season, by the looks of it. So
and he's got a naughty record of scoring against the Toon as well, the Giroud. So let's hope that his time away from playing against us, he's forgotten how to score past us.
Well, unfortunately, he's never really relied on pace. He's always had that unreal first touch. So I don't think, even in his older age, he's really missing that. Like, clearly he's still banging them in. He knows where the net is, and he scored some outrageous goals in his time as well. So I'm glad that he doesn't offer that blistering pace in behind, because as we've mentioned multiple times, our defence is not the quickest in the league by a stretch. So it doesn't mean they can't cause problems. Obviously they've got Pulisic in this season as well, so he'll be on the opposite side of Leao, so they can cause a lot of problems in there. So they're definitely no mugs when it comes to attacking our defence, to be honest. Like, they will cause problems, and I'd imagine they'll be getting chances and putting Pope into good use.
Yeah, Pulisic has started, I think, he's certainly played in the first 3 games. Loftus-Cheek went with him as well, didn't he? So, I'm not sure. Do you know if he's featured yet for them?
I know he started last game against Roma. I don't know about the earlier games, but the fact that he's starting probably their biggest game of the season so far means that I'd imagine he'll be in their strongest lineup unless there's some big injuries, and probably starting in the next couple of games for them as well. And we all know, like, we've all seen him play for Chelsea. He's like a very solid player. He's big physical units, like box to box midfielder. He loves driving with the ball, almost like the same kind of ilk as Joe Linton in a way.
But I was gonna say he filled the void that Tonali left, and so I think from like early signs they're quite happy with what he is kind of doing in that role, despite obviously them losing Tonali, such a key player for them last season, and Loftus-Cheek is kind of filling that void, and I suppose that we segue quite nicely onto Tonali, don't we, in terms of what he's gonna be giving Eddie Howe the inside scoop on how to beat this AC team.
Do you think you will be able to shed a lot of light on how they'll set up and stuff, or do you think things will have changed massively since he's left? Because it's only been, like, obviously one pre-season that he'll have missed, but surely he's got to be able to given quite a few insights into the tactics and how they go about things.
Yeah, you can absolutely guarantee Eddie will be picking his brain. Like, you know he will. He doesn't leave any stone unturned, so I reckon he will be sitting there probably when he comes back from international duty and giving a few tips. And to be fair, Eddie Howe will have done this weeks ago as well when he's preparing. He won't be leaving it till a couple of days before. So I reckon he'll have a few insights at least to how this team might set up or play, or how they can be got at, because I think the defence is very similar to how they've set up last season. Obviously they've got Theo Hernandez, who we've been linked with and we've seen plenty playing for France and scoring a couple of raker goals. Tomori, obviously, very solid player, and I think by the sounds of it, he's got a lot better since going over to Italy. I know he showed flashes of that for Chelsea, but there's a lot of people calling him for the England squad that he should be starting.
Yeah.
So he's clearly doing a hell of a job over there, and obviously reaching the semi-final of the Champions League last season, it just proves that.
It's going to be an emotional...
Go on, mate. Sorry.
Sorry, yeah, I was going to just mention, obviously, with Tonali, like, it's going to be such an emotional game for him. And
Revenge game.
well, yeah, I don't know how you, like, going to put it in, like, some respects, because if we are to believe some of the things that came out of his transfer to us, that if he felt he was being sort of pushed out and everything, and he didn't truly want to leave, then, you know, for him to then be playing against his boyhood club so soon into his new career with us guys, I'm sure there's going to be some emotion flying around, and yeah, like, I know we've talked about it in the past, just with Anthony Gordon ahead of Liverpool game and making sure that his head's fully in the game and switched on. I don't necessarily think Tonali's the type of player who would let emotions get to the best of his abilities on the pitch, but definitely going to be a few things running through his head when he's lining up on the opposite side at the San Siro.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't get subbed off and walk into the wrong bench or something like that.
Old habits die hard, yeah.
Could be useful though for overhearing what the tactics are and stuff, like Tyndall was trying to do last season. Just keep an eye in, or keep an ear in the changing rooms and translate for us. But yeah, it definitely will be an emotional one for him. But I can imagine him really wanting to have like a really good performance, just to kind of show like this is what you kind of lost type thing. But it's very tough to know. Like, it's very early on in his career with us to really get a handle on his personality, and like you say, there was quite a few different rumours at the time when he came to us. So whether you can believe any of them, some of them, who knows? But either way, it's going to be a very big night for him, and it would be interesting to see how Eddie sets him up alongside who, like, the team around him, because you'd assume he's definitely going to be starting. We obviously, at this point, we don't know who started against Brentford, so who's fresh, who's not. But I think if you just look at this game in isolation, you would assume Eddie's probably going to play the team that he's played in the Premier League so far, because that seems to be what he thinks is his strongest team, i.e. we're going to be seeing Bruno, Joelinton, Tonali as that midfield three. Would you agree with that? Yeah,
if, like you say, there's no injuries or anything else that come out of the Brentford one, then yeah, I'd imagine that he sticks with that. And then, yeah, the stage is set for Tonali. I feel like if Eddie wants to, like, you know, make him the main man in that midfield for that game, then yeah, let him just run the show for me. You know, I feel like it's that sort of platform and night for a player like him to just have one of those, you know, memorable games where he just completely runs the show in the midfield. So that's kind of how I'd want Eddie to go into this one with, Tonali is like his man to make things happen in the midfield.
Tell you what, I'd bloody love to have Botman back as well. It would be so much nicer having sort of that Trips, Botman, Shaw, and even Burn, I guess, connection back.
Yeah.
I'd be feeling so much more comfortable going into the game if I had that back four. So fingers crossed that he's healed nicely over this international break. I know they were saying at the start that it shouldn't keep him out for too long. So fingers crossed then he's just done enough to... Because that's what he'll be looking at as well. You can guarantee Botman's looking at that fixture and thinking that I want to be back fit for that. He probably won't mind sitting out the Brentford game if he thinks there's a chance he'll start in Milan.
Because there's a little thing with him and AC as well, isn't there? I think they were trying to poach him and he turned them down. If rumours are to be believed, but he'll definitely be wanting to get back for that game. I don't know how realistic it is though, because I feel like since the takeover, we've had a lot of instances where they say like, "Oh yeah, he'll be out for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks," and then like 3 months later they're still out. So I don't know how much to believe them when they say that the time frames on injuries and stuff.
Yeah, Eddie's always pretty fucking dishonest in his press interviews, whether it's someone coming back from an injury early or someone's spending more time out.
Yeah.
He keeps a good poker face.
As well, where you mentioned Burn at left back, I kind of like that for the Champions League because it's like so strange that I feel like Champions League teams, like these European teams, won't know what to do with him.
6'7" left back. Who the fuck is this guy?
So I don't know who will be starting for them on the right, but
I think
I can't imagine
Pulisic.
Even if it is Pulisic, he obviously played and he didn't really play for Chelsea that much, did he? Especially since Burn's been playing left back. So even he, coming from the Premier League, he won't have played against the 6'7" left back.
I think it might be the new guy that they signed from Villarreal who would line up on the right, Samuel Chukwueze, Nigerian international. So yeah, I think he obviously offers pace and stuff. Like, again, we don't sound like a broken record when it comes up against Dan Burn, but I think what Burn needs to be careful of in Champions League is that you don't get away with as many of the little kind of fouls, and the refs are like just seem a lot softer in the on this stage, and it goes for all the players. To be fair, like, we just have to be savvy, like in this, like, and yeah, we're playing against an Italian side who are renowned for the dark arts, like when it comes to the winning these like cheap fouls and like just putting some cheap tackles in on our guys and stuff like that. So that's one sort of element to this this game itself, but also this campaign that we're going to be going into the Champions League, that we just have to be just a bit savvy about how we approach that, and that'll come down to players like Trips, who have played in this competition many times before, who will need to just tell some of those less experienced guys just to how to approach certain things to not get into the refs book.
Yeah. What's on?
I was just going to say with Botman, he's got Champions League experience as well, hasn't he? So it's another reason why it'd be great to have him back. Another defender in there with the experience to pass on to others.
I was just going to carry on from the fact that people need to watch what they're doing. Like Joe Linton, Bruno, we know they can make a lot of fouls, aggressive fouls, cynical fouls.
Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, true. He needs to keep his studs down for starters. Christ. They just need to watch themselves, because you can see the yellow cards mounting up very quickly. And we don't fancy seeing a few bans later in the group stage as well from big players. So
Yeah.
I think hopefully the occasion doesn't get to it too much. And I know that's very difficult to say, and it'd be much harder to actually do, because once that they're in the stadium, the Champions League music's playing, the San Siro will be fucking electric. By the way, yeah, it's gonna be emotional. Like, might shed a few tears. I think Bruno said he was going to as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, before the game, I can imagine. Probably before and after as well. But yeah, with the occasion thing, that's one thing that we've kind of said before we're not very good at so far under Eddie Howe. The big occasions, we've kind of let them get to us quite a bit. Obviously, the cup final, and then you look at some of the bigger games. Think even you could look at the Liverpool game where we were 1-0 up against 10 men and then we just crumbled.
Shit the bed,
Like, yeah, we've seemed to have a habit, and I think I was saying this in the podcast we did, talking about the Champions League group that we'd drawn. It's going to be great for us come the end of the campaign, that we'll have gained all this experience, and we'll have hopefully by the end of it got over this big occasion thing, and it will really help us going forward. But for specifically this first game against AC, like, it will be tough for the lads to play the game and not the occasion. So there's going to be a lot of things at play here rather than just like 11 versus 11. But I do think if like there's no crazy refereeing decisions or anything like that, I do think we actually have like a really good chance of getting something in this game. I don't know about you two, but I'm actually surprisingly confident going into it.
Yeah, no, I can see it. I know we've said all these other things, we've been raving about AC's start and everything else, but I think the big thing is the fact that they've got this massive game. I think their fixture against Inter and the way it falls directly before ours is such a key thing. I do, and yeah, if that's not being looked at, then as something as key as that, I think that is our way of getting in. And obviously, if they come into it on the back of beating Inter and then going, free clear of Inter and be 100% 4 games, 1 out of 4, and then playoffs, then yeah, that could be that could work then against us. But I still think like they'll be putting a lot of effort into that game. So we just need to manage the game against Brentford in the best way possible, go about that professionally, get the result we need in that game, but then just save ourselves for this AC one, and yeah, we definitely can give ourselves a chance.
It's strange because I'm almost more confident about this one than the Brentford match, which makes absolutely zero sense. Like, we're playing at home against Brentford, we're playing against a team who, yeah, they're probably a top half team, but this is AC Milan. This is AC Milan at the San Siro. But we've talked about the occasion a lot. I think there's so many of our players who can rise to that occasion, and if they channel it in the right way, I reckon they could turn that into an unbelievable performance. The likes of Isak, like, he's the coolest man on the fucking pitch. Like, if he turns it on, if he really turns it on, like, he could absolutely torch up like any defender on his day. So it's just how we handle it, and Eddie's going to be saying all the right things. He's going to be keeping them grounded, but wanting them to sort of put it in the passion at the same time. You've got to like hold and give, but just do it at the right time.
Do you think it will be Isak who gets the start up top?
I think so. I think the talent he's got, like, as I said, he's a phenomenal player. Not that Wilson isn't, and again, Wilson's obviously scored a couple of goals this season already, and he's looked sharp. But I think for a Champions League fixture, I think Isak's probably my man that I would pick. I don't know about you, Tom. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, I think Isak. The he's definitely a player who wants to be known as one of the best in his position in Europe. So this is the sort of platform for him to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna agree and say Isaac's gonna be that main guy who's gonna hopefully get some goals.
Alright, we've come to that time. Predictions for AC Milan versus Newcastle United in the Champions League at the San Siro.
Oh, I am gonna say there's gonna be goals, and I'm gonna go 3-2 tune.
Fucking hell. Fucking classic. Get in.
I want a classic opening Champions League night that every fan who goes there says he'll never forget. And look, I mean, Shearer scored twice last time in the San Siro 20 years ago against Inter on that day. Why not Isak score a hat-trick and we win 3-2? So
get a bet on that. Fuck it. You'll be paying for all our trips to Dortmund and Paris after that. I reckon it might be quite a tentative game, to be honest. We know Italian teams are known for being stubborn, resilient, don't give much away. And I could see it being a tightish game. I'm going to go with 1-1, and I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with going in there and taking a point. I could see we're winning, don't get us wrong. I don't know how the team are going to react to that occasion, and if we play our best, we'll win. But we've not been playing our best so far, and I don't know how we're going to react like we did in the cup final against Man U. So I think 1-1. I'll take that.
Yeah, I'd put 1-1 as well. Tempted to change it now, but
keep 1-1 in. Look, because I by all means, I know my scoreline is coming in crazy and everything else, but realistic, a 1-1 is a fantastic start to the campaign. If we want to go far in the competition or even just try and get a handle on third in the group. So but I'm still sticking to my guns. 3-2.
What a page.
Oh, I still can't believe we're playing AC Milan.
And that's mad, isn't it?
Absolutely
crazy.
We're talking about getting a 1-1 and we could beat them, but take a 1-1. Alright. Well, I'm not 100% sure when we'll be back for the review, as things may go west as we're watching this game all together. But get your predictions in as well. Let us know what you think the score is going to be, how we're going to get on in Champions League. You can leave a comment. There'll be a poll on Spotify or hit us on social media.
Any good balls to watch the match in Magaluf? Let me know.
Aye, it'll be.
Don't tell everyone where we're going to be, man.
I said let me know. I didn't say we were going to be there.
Oh, I'm messing. If anyone is in Magaluf, come join me for the Tomb game.
Right.
And join us in the next episode. Don't know what it'll be. Hopefully the review of the Brentford game.
Wins all around.
Yeah, hopefully wins. Hopefully 3 points in the Premier League. Hopefully beating AC Milan in the Champions League. Crazy stuff. Alright, join us then. We'll catch you in the next one.